I was talking to John, but now I'm talking to you. When this is over, you're gonna break down and big source. Like right away. Right around the corner. I'll set that for you. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I know that. It's just that I don't walk home. So I don't know.
They're gonna take questions up there, so if
So if you go down here, right? You put one.
And actually, at one point,
Right, okay, okay.
I could have
he's already got something immediately after this, so I don't know that, yeah.
This right here is this is the net.
Yeah.
That's the net one. So what corner are you in?
But I mean, I'll find out.
You put one. See? You put one.
How many ones?
Yep, one in the box. So you want it right. So when it gets up, it should be on here.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, that's the net one.
It's like a stir and it's a large world.
Okay. Oh, I think that's it. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then we'll take you next door right after that.
Oh, okay.
One morning I was doing
Next day.
you just felt like someone was here.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
what we believe is an incredibly important announcement for parents across our state. And I want to thank Orange County Sheriff John Mina, Osceola County Sheriff Marcos Lopez, Created Women Executive Director Jillian Penhale, Created Women Outreach Assistant Laura Henderson, the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation Director Ron Stucker, and Orlando Police Department Captain Richard Lane, among other great men and women of law enforcement, for being with us today. We are in the midst of Human Trafficking Awareness Month, and certainly human trafficking has garnered much attention in the last few years, especially since Florida ranks number 3 in the nation in reports to the National Human Trafficking Hotline. And January is a time for us to all recognize that this remains an incredibly important mission of ours here in Florida, an incredibly heinous crime that we must step up as a team and prevent. And it gives us a time to talk about tools that the community can use to help us make Florida a zero-tolerant state. As a parent of a young child, I cannot imagine a more terrifying thought than having a child subjected to such an atrocious crime. And so we in Florida question how we can be more proactive. Of course, as law enforcement, we are going to do everything within our power to identify when human trafficking is taking place, investigate, and prosecute traffickers. But how can we be better at preventing this crime from taking place? How can we, as parents and responsible community members, educators, what can we do to better protect our children? We need to talk about education, educating not just our children, but parents. And when I talk today a little bit about what we can do, I want to remind everyone that technology has exploded in the last decade. In fact, from the time the oldest boy in our family to now our youngest boy, the availability of online apps and websites where predators and human traffickers can lurk and access your children, that has grown exponentially. And so, as I sit here today and talk to parents and community leaders about educating children, I also want to stress that you need to educate yourself. I am involved in these investigations. I speak daily about incidents that happen around our states, and I'm still learning the apps and websites and technology where folks can prey upon children. And I'm a parent, just like everybody else. We know that 83% of human trafficking cases, the solicitation will begin online. And that's why we're all up here today, to tell you how important this month is, Human Trafficking Awareness Month. We all recognize this is an issue, and that technology puts our children today at greater risk of being targeted and lured and exploited than we could have ever imagined just a decade ago. And so today we're announcing a new tool, the 2022 Online Safety Toolkit. About half the kids in this country will get their first smartphone by age 11. And so if 83% of active sex trafficking cases involved online solicitation, we know that they are at risk. We know that there are apps and websites that actually put on their pages that predators are known to use the site. And so this online safety toolkit will list apps that parents should know about. Parents should know that there are websites and apps that are designed to allow you to talk to strangers. They should know that their kids, if they get access to this technology, will be talking to strangers. So what worked for us a decade in educating children about stranger danger we now have to say to them, stranger danger online. You don't just look out for folks and recognize your surroundings and your circumstances when you're at the bus stop, or when you're walking to school, or when you're with your friends on the corner. You have to be on guard and understand that folks will attempt to contact you, and it may be for very dangerous purposes online. Stranger danger online. And so the toolkit will include apps that parents should know about, and all the tools that we have at our disposal, both from federal law enforcement, state law enforcement, and national organizations, compiled in one place for Florida parents to better educate and learn along with their children. It will also have a link to parental control guides for Apple and Android products. They can help safeguard children's online activity remotely so that you can trust your children, trust that you've educated them appropriately as to online dangers, but verify with their online activity and make sure they're using their online devices in a safe way. Using the toolkit, parents can take control of their child's engagement online in a safe way. We want all our children to succeed in Florida, and we know that the internet and being online is going to be a part of that. It is now necessary in many educational institutions. We know that children are encouraged to do research online and do school projects online. And so with that encouraged engagement with online tools, we've also got to teach them how to do it responsibly. One simple tip that we have in my household for my young son: do not engage with or speak with anyone online that you don't know in person, in real life. If they're a friend in real life, they can be a friend online. Using simple tips like that and using the 2022 Online Safety Toolkit, parents can craft how they will protect their children, begin these important discussions in person, and then continue to take active steps to protect their children online. I'd like to welcome Created Women Executive Director Jillian Penhow to come up. And Jillian, I'm going to present to you a cabinet resolution signed by our governor and my fellow cabinet members honoring January as National Human Trafficking Awareness Month. Thank you so much for what your organization does to protect victims of human trafficking. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here as well. It's an honor to have you both here, and we're going to be hearing from both of them, and I'll invite you up to make a few comments.
Thank you so much for this honor. Created has spent the last 14 years serving women who have been trafficked and exploited in our community. It's an honor to be here because of that work. And thank you, Attorney General Moody and her team, for the work that they have done, not only to make sure survivors have access to needed support, but to also work across the state to ensure that the demand side of human trafficking is being addressed. Created serves adult survivors, and the common story among our participants is that this started at a much younger age. The average age of entry into this exploitation is just 13 years old. We serve women as they exit and enter into safe housing for the first time. And the one thing that's becoming more and more prevalent with access to social media is that women are meeting traffickers through direct messages online, coercing them into starting a relationship, and then meeting in person, being tricked into what becomes exploitation and trafficking. That is why we're excited for the efforts of the Safety Social Media Toolkit. This will provide parents and other guardians the knowledge of what to watch for and the ability to create a safe boundary for children in our community, and as a parent for my own children in the future. One of our survivor leaders, who also serves on the Created team as our outreach assistant, Laura Henderson, is going to share quickly from her perspective on the importance of this kind of awareness. Thank you again.
Hello, good afternoon. I am Laura Henderson, and I'm also honored to be here. As a survivor leader and member of the Created team, I'm grateful for the work Attorney General Moody's office has done on the issue of human trafficking. I also get to work every day with women who we help leave their traffickers. and other unsafe situations. And it is an honor to give back to women every single day. Awareness of human traffickers is one thing I am deeply passionate about. And I believe the Online Safety Toolkit can be a great starting point for parents to be more aware of what is happening in social media for their children. I was only 4 when I was entered into foster care. I lost my sense of home and grew up in chaos and confusion. I was looking for love and acceptance in all the wrong places. After I made it to college, I found myself in a relationship with a man who forced me to work in clubs, and ultimately, I began being trafficked. I was also trafficked via the internet. The year Backpage was shut down was when I was finally able to escape. I have now been a survivor for 4 years. As I look back at my own life, I can see where positive and informed role models could have stepped in and made a difference in my life. That is what I am hoping happens through more awareness about the realities of trafficking. As people are informed with the truth, we can make a difference for others.
Well, first, before I begin, I want to thank Laura for her bravery and certainly her leadership in this initiative, helping others. We appreciate you. Thank you, Madam Attorney General. Honored to be here today for the unveiling of the Human Trafficking Toolkit for Parents. It's an important step forward to protect our children, and a great reminder for our parents and for our young people out there, all who have been robbed by freedom, from their freedom of criminals looking to profit from sex and labor trafficking. At the Orange County Sheriff's Office, we are committed to eradicating human trafficking both here in Central Florida, the state of Florida, and across the nation. We are part of the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation Task Force, and we have deputies that are dedicated to human trafficking, who are constantly identifying victims, building cases to put these sinister criminals behind bars. Just in 2021, the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation made 40 human trafficking related arrests and rescued 74 victims of human trafficking. That includes 23 juveniles and 51 adults. It's important for all of us to recognize the signs of human trafficking, and certainly if we can have our parents recognize these signs, teaching their children beforehand to prevent them from ever becoming victims is so very, very important. Just looking at the online toolkit myself here recently, a lot of great tips are right there. What the Attorney General said earlier, just as simple as a parent telling their child, if you don't know that person, if you're not a friend of that person, if it's a stranger, you're not to talk to them online. That's what's so very valuable for having this online toolkit. A lot of times parents were so wrapped up in everything else is going on, but be able to have that right at our fingertips and be able to share that with our families and tell them what not to do and what to look out for is so very, very vital. And just 2 years ago, we stood with the Attorney General and helped launch the Truckers Against Trafficking initiative for human trafficking as well. Another successful program that, let's face it, our truckers are in a unique position to identify those victims and see the signs of human trafficking. So, as parents, we need to invest our lives in the lives of our children, and it all starts by knowing, what they're doing, who they're talking to online. That's why this online toolkit is so very important. So this time I'll turn it over to Sheriff Lopez from Osceola County.
Hola, saludos, hello. Voy a decir unas palabras en español para reforzar lo que estamos intentando de lograr, creando esa conciencia sobre el tráfico humano. El estado de la Florida se encuentra entre los 5 primeros estados del país en tráfico de humanos. El tráfico humano es la esclavitud moderna, es la explotación de hombres, mujeres y o niños obligados a trabajar o a prostituirse para lucro o beneficio de otros. Las víctimas de tráfico humano pueden ser cualquier edad, raza, identidad, género, sexo, etnicidad, nacionalidad, estatus migratorio y clases sociales. El uso indebido de Internet y o redes sociales pueden facilitar el desarrollo de redes de tráfico humano y prostitución. La clave para prevenir el tráfico humano es la educación. La herramienta en línea que ha creado la Fiscalía General Moody es una excelente manera de informarse y educarse sobre los signos de la trata de personas y las formas de evitar que sus hijos sean víctimas. La información está disponible en inglés y en español. Si usted sospecha que alguien está siendo víctima de tráfico humano, comuníquese de inmediato con las autoridades. Es muy importante, como padres, seres humanos, vigilar a sus niños que no caigan víctimas por gente que están en línea intentando de atraer a nuestros niños para envolverles en este mundo oscuro. Y pasa. Ustedes tienen que tomar esa responsabilidad. Vecinos, amigos, hermanos, padres, cuando vean estas señales, tráigaselas a las autoridades. Fórmense porque existe, es muy peligroso. Nosotros todos aquí juntos trabajando para proteger a nuestros niños y a nuestra comunidad. Gracias.
Good afternoon. My name is Ron Stucker. I'm the director of the Metropolitan Bureau of Investigation, and we have the privilege of working with men and women investigators and advocates every day in Orange and Osceola County that investigate human trafficking. And every day, those advocates and investigators are dealing with victims of human trafficking, rescuing them, and bringing their traffickers to justice. We are very pleased to see this toolkit that the Attorney General is rolling out today. We think it's critically important to educate parents, to educate families in things they can do to be proactive. Almost every case, I could say invariably every case that MBI investigates of human trafficking has some component of social media that's involved. Often we see it on the back end where it is where a victim is being advertised for commercial sex online, but it's also very important to understand the front end of that. I'm sure everybody in the room today is going to receive a phone call, a text message, or an email in which someone is going to try to sell you something, extend your warranty, or tell you that you have won a free gift. Traffickers do the exact same thing. They are trolling every website, every app, every social media opportunity out there to connect with their next victim. They are seeing who is going to respond back to them, then learning what are their vulnerabilities so they can exploit those. We had a very specific case just a couple years ago. A juvenile female victim had never met this man in her life, but he reached out in social media. And over the course of about 4 months, he began to groom her, began to pay attention to her, began to offer her things. What could he do for her? How could he make her life better? And of course, that sounded very good to her. And so he had made arrangements one day when she was at a restaurant in Osceola County that he would meet her there, and all she had to do was walk out in the parking lot, get in the car, and they were going to have this great life together. So she did it. Of course, when she got in the car, there wasn't one man out there. There were two. And within a matter of hours, they had brought her from Osceola County to Orange County. She was posted online, and they were trafficking her. Fortunately, she got access to a phone, was able to call somebody, and with the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Osceola Sheriff's Office, and MBI, we were able to very quickly rescue her and bring her trafficker to justice. But that is how quickly it could happen. Everyone says, no, it won't happen to me, it won't happen to my family. That's somebody else. It can happen to everybody. And so toolkits like this that help educate parents and help give us a way to know what's going on in our children's lives are critically important to prevent them from ever being a victim of human trafficking. Thank you.
I really appreciate those of you that have shared the stories of real incidents where children, oftentimes carefully guarded by their parents or caring families or guardians, yet predators, traffickers can get to them using technology like they never could before. I am involved with these cases every day, and I am still learning how to protect my own children. So consider this a plea from those of us in law enforcement, from parents, from victims, Human trafficking is specifically defined, and the elements of the crime use the word coercion. And so what's important to look at when proving a human trafficking case is whether or not the victim was coerced into sexual activity, labor acts, and that is so very important in successfully prosecuting these cases.
General
Yes.
Moody, can I talk about the development process of this toolkit? How many years was it in the making, and in terms of working with the different agencies to make it happen?
Well, what's great about this, the 2022, so this is the first of its kind. This is the 2022 Online Safety Toolkit for Florida. And what we've done is we've compiled the tips that have evolved with other major agencies, whether that's FBI or the National Center for Exploited or Missing Children, but we've also used Florida-specific information that we've seen in our own cases here in Florida. You heard a little bit about those today. I can tell you, as a mother, one of the things that drove me to do this was hearing reports from other parents about their children being solicited online by strangers. And so I immediately dug in, not only because I wanted to know more for my own purposes to protect my family, but I feel as Attorney General, I want to protect everybody's family in Florida. And so I immediately put my folks on developing a one-stop shop for parents that they could use, that they could get all of these sources into one place using our own information that we have. And we really think this is a great start, a first product, and we hope next year it'll be even better. Any other questions?
Where can somebody access the online safety toolkit, and also does it address what parents should be doing in the event that a suspected trafficker might be someone that they know?
Great question. www.myfloridalegal.com, which this shows you my generation, right? We always put www in front of every website. Apparently, they told me you don't need to do that anymore. Myfloridalegal.com is our website. And what you can also find on that website, when COVID began and we saw a lot of our children shift their studies online and other interactions online, we knew that this was going to be a problem because they were going to be spending more and more time online. So we, at that point, tried to get out as much information as we could. So we released some safety tips for parents. This is a work in progress and a culmination from what we had to start during COVID. So I would invite anyone in Florida to get their hands on the 2022 Online Safety Toolkit. They can go to myfloridalegal.com and it'll show you all of the resources there. But if you suspect human trafficking, if you suspect your child has been victimized in any way, or you know someone who has been victimized, call law enforcement immediately. You can report it to 911.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you so much.